There are moments when a dream is not just a dream but an encounter, something that reaches beyond the natural and settles deep within your spirit. You know the difference. You've had ordinary dreams that fade before your feet even touch the ground in the morning. But then there are those dreams that linger, they stay with you. You wake up and instead of confusion, there is a strange clarity, a quiet knowing that something has just taken place that is not of your own making. When the Holy Spirit begins to speak through dreams, there is an authority that accompanies it. It does not feel scattered or meaningless. It does not leave you grasping for understanding in frustration. Instead, even if every detail is not immediately clear, there is a weight to it, a sacred weight. It presses gently but firmly upon your heart, and you cannot easily dismiss it. You carry it with you throughout the day. It returns to your thoughts in quiet moments. It settles into your spirit as though it has something yet to unfold. And often these dreams are marked by a vividness that sets them apart. The colors may seem brighter, the voices clearer, the emotions stronger than anything you experience in your waking life. It is as though your spirit has stepped into another realm, where the natural boundaries no longer apply. You are not merely observing, you are experiencing. And when you awaken, it does not feel distant, it feels near, almost as if it has followed you back into the room. This is one of the ways you begin to discern that the Holy Spirit is at work. Because what he speaks, he impresses. What he reveals, he seals. The message is not easily stolen by distraction or time. It remains. Even when you try to move on with your day, there is something within you that keeps drawing you back, whispering, "Pay attention, this matters." You may not have all the answers immediately, and that is all right. The Holy Spirit does not always reveal everything at once. Sometimes he plants a seed through a dream, knowing that understanding will come as you seek, as you pray, as you listen. But the clarity is not in having every detail explained. The clarity is in the certainty that it came from beyond yourself. And there is a holy reverence that begins to rise within you when you recognize this. You realize that heaven has chosen to communicate in a personal way. Not through noise, not through chaos, but through a moment where your heart is still and your spirit is open. It is not something to be taken lightly. It is not something to be brushed aside as imagination. Because when the Holy Spirit speaks, even in the quiet language of dreams, there is purpose behind every image, every word, every feeling. And that purpose is reaching for you, calling you to listen more closely, to draw nearer, to become aware that your life is not sluggy, your life is being guided. And when you begin to recognize these dreams for what they are, you step into a deeper awareness that God is not distant, he is speaking. And then there are those moments when the dream does not come just once, it returns. Not by accident, not by chance, but with a persistence that gently refuses to be ignored. You may try to set it aside, telling yourself it was only your mind at work, but then it comes again, perhaps the very next night, or weeks later, and something within you begins to awaken to the realization that this is not coincidence. This is intention. The Holy Spirit does not repeat himself without purpose. When a message is sent again and again, it carries with it a sense of urgency, a quiet insistence that says, "Listen closely, do not let this pass you by." And you begin to notice that even if the details of the dream shift slightly, the core message remains the same. It is like a thread being woven through different scenes, drawing your attention back to one central truth. There is something deeply merciful about this repetition. Because the Holy Spirit understands how easily we can dismiss what we do not immediately understand. He knows how quickly the noise of daily life can crowd out the whisper of the Spirit. And so he comes again. Not to confuse you, not to overwhelm you, but to make sure that what he is speaking is not lost. And with each repetition, something changes within you. The dream no longer feels distant or uncertain. It begins to settle deeper into your spirit. What once seemed mysterious starts to feel familiar. What once felt like a question begins to carry the weight of an answer waiting to be embraced. You may even find yourself anticipating it, sensing that there is more yet to be revealed. This is how the Holy Spirit gently aligns your heart with his message. He does not force understanding upon you, he invites it. He allows the repetition to soften your resistance, to quiet your doubts, to open your spirit to receive what he has been speaking all along. And in that process you begin to recognize his voice more clearly. There are those who will dismiss repeated dreams as mere coincidence or imagination, but deep within, you know when something is different. There is a consistency that cannot be explained away. There is a presence within the dream that feels alive, purposeful, intentional. And even when you try to ignore it, it does not lose its strength. It remains steady and unchanging. And sometimes the repetition is not only in your sleep. You may begin to notice the same message appearing in other ways through a word you hear, a passage you read, a quiet impression in your spirit. It is as though everything is aligning to confirm what has already been spoken in the night. This is how the Holy Spirit brings clarity, not through confusion, but through confirmation. So do not be quick to dismiss what returns to you. Do not overlook the dreams that come again with the same voice, the same message, the same call. There is something sacred in that repetition. It is the evidence of a God who cares enough to speak again, who loves enough to remind, who is patient enough to wait until your heart is ready to receive. Because when heaven repeats itself, it is not echo, it is calling. And then there are those dreams that go even deeper. Dreams that do not simply speak to you, but begin to show you who you are becoming. You find yourself not just watching something unfold, but participating in it. You are praying for someone, speaking to a crowd, comforting the broken, standing in places you have never physically been, and yet in the dream it feels completely natural, as though you were created for that very moment. These are not empty images. These are not random scenes stitched together by your imagination. There is a divine intention within them, because the Holy Spirit does not only reveal messages, He reveals purpose. And sometimes the clearest glimpse you will ever have of your calling will come when your natural mind is quiet and your spirit is open to receive. You may wake from such a dream with a sense of wonder, even uncertainty. You might question it, wondering how it could possibly relate to your life as it is now. You may look at your current circumstances and see no connection at all. But the Holy Spirit is not limited by where you are. He is revealing where you are being led. And in these moments, something sacred begins to unfold within you. Because even if your mind struggles to comprehend it, your spirit recognizes it. There is a resonance, a deep stirring that cannot be denied. It feels like something awakening, something being called forth, that has always been there, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The Holy Spirit often speaks this way because He sees beyond the present. He knows the path ahead. He understands the assignment that has been placed upon your life, even when you have not yet fully embraced it. And so He gives you a glimpse, not the entire journey, not every detail, but enough to awaken your awareness and begin aligning your heart with His purpose. And sometimes these dreams will stretch you. They will show you doing things you feel unqualified for, stepping into roles you never imagined, carrying a responsibility that feels far greater than your own strength. But this is where faith begins to rise, because the calling of God has never been based on your ability. It has always been based on His. So when you see yourself in these dreams, do not immediately shrink back in doubt. Do not dismiss it because it feels too big, too far, too impossible. Instead, recognize that the Holy Spirit is allowing you to see through His eyes, even if only for a moment. He is showing you what He is preparing you for, what He is shaping within you, what He intends to bring forth in His perfect time. And as these dreams come, they begin to leave an imprint upon your spirit. You cannot easily forget them. They begin to influence the way you pray, the way you think, the way you see others. You may find yourself drawn toward things you once overlooked, feeling a compassion, a boldness, a desire that was not there before. This is not accidental, this is alignment. Because when the Holy Spirit reveals your spiritual assignment, He is not only informing you, He is preparing you. He is gently leading you into a deeper awareness of who you are called to be, so that when the moment comes, your spirit will recognize it. And what begins in a dream when it is truly from Him will not remain a dream forever. It will become a calling you can no longer ignore. And after such dreams, there comes something that is difficult to explain, yet unmistakably real. A deep inner witness that settles within you. It is not loud, it is not forced, and it does not demand your attention in a dramatic way. Instead, it rests quietly in your spirit, like a gentle but steady assurance that what you have received carries truth. You awaken, and even before your thoughts begin to analyze, there is already a knowing. It may come as a sense of peace that you cannot fully describe, or a weight of conviction that lingers beyond emotion. It is not confusion, it is not anxiety, and it is not fear in the natural sense. It is something deeper, a spiritual recognition that the Holy Spirit has spoken. This inner witness is one of the most precious ways the Holy Spirit confirms His voice. Because while dreams may carry images and messages, it is this quiet assurance that anchors them within your heart. Without it, you might question everything, dismissing what you have seen as imagination. But with it, even when you do not fully understand, you cannot completely deny. There are times when that inner witness will bring peace. A calmness will surround your heart, even if the dream itself was intense or unfamiliar. It is as though the Holy Spirit is saying, "This is from me, you are safe, you can trust what I have shown you." And in that peace, there is a strengthening of your faith, a reassurance that you are not being left to figure everything out alone. And then there are moments when the inner witness comes as conviction. Not condemnation, not shame, but a clear and undeniable prompting that something must shift. You may feel a stirring to pray more deeply, to turn away from something that has been pulling you off course, or to step forward in obedience where you have hesitated before. This conviction is not meant to burden you, it is meant to align you. The Holy Spirit knows how to speak directly to the heart. He does not rely on outward pressure or human persuasion. He moves within, touching the very core of your being, in a way that no external voice can replicate. And when he does, it leaves an impression that is both gentle and powerful at the same time. You may try to ignore it, to move on with your routine, to convince yourself that it will fade. But the true inner witness does not disappear so easily. It remains present, quietly drawing your attention back, reminding you that something has been spoken that requires your response. It is patient, but it is persistent. And over time, as you begin to recognize this inner witness, you grow more sensitive to it. You learn to distinguish it from your own thoughts, from your emotions, from the noise of the world around you. You begin to trust it, not blindly, but with a growing confidence that this is how the Holy Spirit leads through a relationship that is personal, intimate, and deeply real. This is where the dream and the spirit come together. The dream may awaken you, but the inner witness sustains the message. It carries it beyond the moment of sleep and into your waking life, where it begins to shape your decisions, your priorities, your direction. And when you honor that inner witness, when you listen instead of resisting, you find yourself moving into a deeper alignment with the voice of the Holy Spirit. Because he is not only speaking in the night, he is continuing to guide you in the light. And the voice that lingers within you is the very evidence that he is still speaking. And there are times when the dreams you receive will not feel gentle at all. They may not bring immediate comfort, and they may not leave you with a sense of ease. Instead, you awaken with a heaviness, a stirring, even a sense of urgency, that something is not as it should be. And in those moments, it is important to understand that not every message from the Holy Spirit comes to soothe. Some come to awaken, to correct, and to protect. Because the Holy Spirit loves too deeply to remain silent when something in your life is moving in the wrong direction. He sees what you cannot see. He understands the consequences of paths you may not even realize you are walking. And so in his mercy, he speaks sometimes through dreams that arrest your attention and refuse to be ignored. You may find yourself in a dream where something is being taken from you, or where you are lost, or where danger feels close. You may see relationships strained, doors closing, or situations unraveling. And when you awaken, there is no immediate explanation, only a lingering sense that what you experienced carries meaning. These are not dreams to dismiss lightly, because often they are filled with divine warning. But even in warning, there is love. The Holy Spirit does not reveal these things to frighten you or to leave you in fear. He reveals them so that you may respond. There is always an invitation within the warning, an invitation to pray, to reflect, to realign your steps before it is too late. What he shows you is not meant to harm you, it is meant to keep you from harm. And sometimes these dreams will bring correction. They will gently but clearly expose attitudes, decisions, or patterns that are pulling you away from where you are meant to be. You may see yourself acting in ways that do not reflect the person you are called to become. You may feel a conviction that is undeniable, even if it is uncomfortable. But this is not rejection, it is refinement. Because the Holy Spirit is committed to shaping you, preparing you, guiding you into the fullness of your calling. And that preparation requires honesty. It requires moments where truth is revealed without distortion, where you are given the opportunity to see clearly what must change. And while it may not always feel easy, it is always purposeful. There are also times when these dreams will redirect you. You may have been moving forward with a plan, confident in your own understanding, only to receive a dream that causes you to pause. Something within it unsettles your certainty. It does not bring clarity in the way you expected, it brings a check in your spirit. And that check is often the Holy Spirit gently saying, "Not this way, there is another path." In these moments, discernment becomes essential. You must resist the urge to ignore what is uncomfortable simply because it challenges your plans. Instead, you must be willing to listen, to seek deeper understanding, to allow the Holy Spirit to guide you even when it means changing direction. Because his goal is not to control you, it is to lead you safely, wisely, and in alignment with God's purpose for your life. And every warning, every correction, every redirection is a reflection of his care. So when you receive dreams that stir you, that challenge you, that call you to examine your path, do not turn away. There is something within them that is working for your good, even if it does not feel that way at first. Because sometimes the most powerful evidence that God is guiding you is when He refuses to let you go the wrong way. And then, perhaps one of the most beautiful and undeniable signs of all is what begins to happen within your heart after the dream has passed. Because when the Holy Spirit truly speaks, He does not leave you where you were. He draws you closer. There is a stirring, a quiet but persistent hunger that begins to rise from deep within your spirit, and it cannot be satisfied by anything else. You may try to return to your routine, to your normal patterns, to the things that once filled your time and attention. But something has shifted. There is a longing now, a desire that was not as strong before. You find yourself wanting to pray, not out of obligation, but out of a deep need to connect. You feel drawn to worship, to stillness, to moments where you can simply be aware of His presence. This is not something you manufacture. It is not something you force into existence. It is the natural response of a heart that has been touched by the Holy Spirit. Because when He speaks, He awakens something eternal within you, something that recognizes the voice of God and longs to hear it again. And this hunger is different from anything the world can offer. It is not restless or empty. It is not driven by fear or pressure. It is steady, deep, and quietly consuming. It pulls you away from distractions and calls you into focus. It causes you to reevaluate what truly matters, to let go of what once seemed important but now feels insignificant in comparison. You may notice that your desires begin to change. Things that once held your attention lose their appeal, not because you are forcing yourself to turn away, but because your spirit has found something greater. There is a sensitivity that develops within you, a heightened awareness of what draws you closer to God and what pulls you away. And with that sensitivity comes a deeper responsiveness. You begin to listen more carefully, to pay attention not only to dreams, but to the quiet leading of the Holy Spirit throughout your day. You find yourself seeking His guidance in moments both big and small. There is a growing dependence, not out of weakness, but out of recognition that His presence is what sustains you. This is how the Holy Spirit prepares you for what lies ahead. He does not simply reveal your calling and leave you unchanged. He transforms your desires so that your heart begins to align with His will. The hunger you feel is not slotchy, it is preparation. It is the foundation upon which your calling will be built, because a calling without intimacy cannot be sustained. A purpose without connection will eventually lose its direction. And so the Holy Spirit draws you in first. He deepens your relationship, strengthens your awareness, and anchors you in a place where you can truly hear and follow. And the more you respond to that hunger, the stronger it becomes. It leads you deeper into prayer, deeper into understanding, deeper into a life that is no longer centered on yourself but on Him. And in that place, everything begins to take on new meaning. So when you feel that hunger rising within you, do not ignore it. Do not try to silence it or replace it with something else. It is one of the clearest signs that the Holy Spirit is at work, drawing you into something greater than you have known before. Because when He speaks through dreams, He is not only revealing your calling, He is awakening your heart to pursue Him above all else.